In this episode of the Churchfront Show, we're talking about Waves Stream, a really innovative way to stream a mix to any DAW or any web interface. We're also going to be talking about some unique use cases of the Apple Vision Pro. Look at this, Playback and Chart Builder within the Apple Vision Pro. This is my favorite part, using his hand to actually move the sliders around. That's insane. We'll get this another cool photo we'll talk about. We got some leaks from new gear from Behringer, some new lighting fixtures that I'm pretty excited about for stage design for churches. I'll talk about my experience using the PTZ Optics 4K Move camera for the past couple months, KVM extenders for church setups, what to do when your church burns down. So all of this and much more coming up. Hey there, welcome back to the Churchfront Show. We are excited to dive into the topics today. My name's Jake Gosselin. We've got Adam Baronic and Luke Jackson. We are with Churchfront. You can learn more about what Churchfront does at churchfront.com. But in a nutshell, we've got online courses and education resources there. We've got consulting and coaching available for your worship and production team. And we have integration services. So if you're looking to make any significant or even smaller upgrades to the audio, visual, and streaming setups at your church, be sure to reach out to us at churchfront.com/apply. And we'd love to work with you. So without further ado, let's dive into our first topic of today, and that is Waves Stream. This is some really cool tech. Remote music collaboration in a single click, share your DAW audio in real time. So we are big Waves users here at Churchfront. We've installed these systems for clients, and I'm about to install an LV1 at my church here in Florida. Hopefully next week. Got all the rack mount gear ordered, and that'll be going in soon. But this is cool. Remote music collaboration in a single click. So it's a plugin. You can add it to a track in a DAW, and I'm assuming this is going to work fine in LV1. This still seems like it's kind of in beta mode, and maybe we can confirm that somewhere with one of our Waves representatives. But you could also put the plugin on like a master bus track, and then you're going to be able to remotely stream that audio to another instance of the plugin running in another DAW somewhere, or they have this cool little web player version of it as well. And there's multiple practical use cases here, right? So imagine you have Waves LV1 at front of house, like what we're going to have soon, and we put this plugin in on our matrix mix for our live stream, so that myself or someone else on the team, if say I'm not at church on Sunday, I can still help support them in dialing in that mix for broadcast by using this plugin, and probably would have to use it in conjunction with screen sharing software as well on the Waves LV1 to be able to like navigate, dialing in that mix. But I don't know, guys. I'm pretty pumped about this, or maybe even having a remote mixing solution within the church where maybe I'm using an iPad for the LV1 to take care of like the mix bus or the matrix, and then I'm actually just streaming, the audio with any device that can pull up this web player that they have available. And then other practical ways to use it. I think they intended it to be used more for like studio music producers, right? If you're just wanting to create a mix, you could collaborate with other people, or you could test your mix on how it sounds like in your car. So imagine being able to like play back music from your DAW and then just go to your car and like stream the audio, see what it sounds like in a car sound system. So this is pretty cool. What do you guys think?
That part about the car is a real good piece, because I think you want to check your levels. You want to check, like if you were able to check broadcast on, a car stereo or on a TV or something like that, there's tons of ways to get that over there. But I think it's a pretty sleek, option. I like that they have a QR code baked into the plugin. It makes it easy to kind of get to where you need to go with resources and stuff. And I'm assuming like the Waves manual for it, but it's exciting to think about.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that we could figure out ways to really help this be a useful thing for live environment for a church production. Even just like during rehearsal, if you're the broadcast DAW person and you wanted to listen to it on your iPhone, or you wanted to listen to it on a different set of speakers instead of, having some wonky setup, you could just throw this on your master bus, go receive it on your phone, go plug it into the Sonos system at the church or run to your car. Like, it's a pretty cool way to test your mixes.
And it's got the talkback feature as well, and that's really
Yeah.
important. That's what we liked a lot about the PreSonus Metro system that we
Yeah.
used, and we made a video about that. So I'm really impressed. I don't know, I'm a Waves Creative Access subscriber. So apparently, if you're in Creative Access, like the Essential or the Ultimate plan, you can get access to the beta version of this plugin. Later on, they're going to roll it out, I think, to be available as a standalone plugin. But I'll put a link down below. We are affiliate now for Waves here at Churchfront. So if you want to buy a Creative Access subscription or this plugin, that'll help us out here on the channel. But really fascinating tech that they continue to come out with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. Well, moving on to the next topic of today's show, we've got a very cool instance of the Apple Vision Pro being utilized with Playback and Chart Builder. So this is from Matt Bell in the multitracks.com Facebook group. Just look at this.
Crazy.
He's going ahead. I got to make sure there's no multi-tracks audio. I don't want them to copyright strike my video here on Churchfront Show. But very impressive. Like, this is like, man, is this the future of our worship bands? Are we all going to be wearing Apple Vision Pros, like looking around at Playback and like doing the whole like pinch the fingers and looking at with our eyeballs of where we want to play? I don't know. I think this is a glimpse at the future. Hopefully, we won't be wearing these things on stage, but I think this is pretty cool.
Imagine though, if you are a music director, this is the only person I can imagine who would need this kind of functionality, benefit from it. But how cool to have these windows of the chart, of the Playback app, like, and then you could have PCO up like he does in the video, and you could be reaching out.
Oh, he's
and
reaching out and
editing
adjusting
stuff.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's cool.
I mean,
that is so cool.
gnarly. If you were a music director, like standing at your keys rig and you had all of these windows up, how cool would that be?
Yeah. I think they'd have to be backstage though.
Yeah,
like
you'd look
pretty
weird with the ski goggles on, but
that is the best part right there. Oh my gosh, like reaching out.
Next time in the what's next month, in the April episode, Jake's gonna have the Vision Pros, or Luke's gonna have it, and he's gonna be changing all of our eCam settings from his hands.
Yeah, and then another one was this. Someone tagged us in their story where they have a production member, looks like a video switcher station or something with their video team, wearing a Vision Pro. So he was first live video directing from the Apple Vision. Shout out to Tyler Austin there. So very cool. And it's like, I mean, my thoughts on this thing. I mean, it's cool. It's been interesting. I feel like all the hype of it's already kind of died down pretty quickly. I do think there's going to be some really great use cases for it immediately. Okay, I would like to say, it'd be great as a producer for a worship service, as someone operating tech, to have an Apple Vision Pro for like multi-window viewing of the different control surfaces that we would want to use. That makes a lot of sense. Right now, the problem in this generation of it, I think you can only have like one display, right? You can't have multiple display windows, say from your Mac, right? Do you guys have any more insight or info on that?
With a Mac, it's only, if you're pairing it with your Mac, it's limited to one desktop, but you can have native apps from the Vision Pro in there as well. So like you could pull up a Safari browser with Vision Pro and have your broadcast up there, and then you could have your Mac with that display with maybe, ATEM software control or something like that. And then you could have a media player or whatever, it looks like Playback up there. So there's there's lots of, it looks like he's running a Mac display of Playback and then Planning Center in Safari on that window.
Yep.
Mm.
So it is
Yep.
still pretty limited. What's the other thing that he had? Oh yeah, Chart Builder. So that'd be the thing I'm curious as to how he had Chart Builder up there, but
Well,
Unless
like you
it's a
said,
native app
it's
for.
mhm.
yeah, yeah. He probably already developed the apps, so
Oh,
that
that's
makes
true.
sense. So it's almost
Yeah.
like every control surface type application that you'd want, you can't just use your Mac and have different windows. It needs its own native app
Yep.
within Apple Vision Pro.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, it could be cool. Especially if you had I don't know. I mean, like ATEM software control comes to mind in terms of like cutting, a
Oh,
mix
just
and
touch what you want to cut to.
yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see how long it
Yep.
takes Blackmagic to get up to speed with the Vision Pro.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see the practical use cases for these things. At the same time, there have been Apple products that like just because Apple makes a product, I know I'm not necessarily a diehard user of it, right? And I think some of the
hmm
products have very specific applications. So, um, take like the Apple Watch. You guys both have Apple Watches, right?
hmm
Mm-hmm.
So I don't, and I don't know if like maybe I'm missing out on something. I feel like maybe I would, for me it'd be practical to have one for like surfing or something like that, so I could have like the emergency SOS if a shark gets me or if I'm like drowning, right? But like other than that, like I feel like I don't have a compelling use case for the Apple Watch because part of me, technology wise, I feel like my phone itself is giving me enough like notifications and crap through the day. So it's like I don't need another device to do that. So that's why I view like this Apple Vision Pro. It's like, man, maybe there are going to be specific use cases where it makes a lot of sense, but I'm not going to use this, as my daily driver. Same thing with like an iPad. Like I like using iPads for specific things like, remote mixing for a console. Uh, that's about it. Maybe I'd use it for a notepad if I'm going to do like presentation stuff. I just don't use an iPad for my daily driver. And again, it's maybe my own lifestyle preferences where it's like I don't need more devices. Like to me, my daily driver is my iPhone and my MacBook Pro. Like
hmm
that's how I get done all of my content creation and my consumption, like just with those two devices. So
Yep.
I have a hard time believing. I just don't think the Apple Vision Pro is going to become that mainstream. I mean, at least definitely not this generation of it, because I just have a hard time viewing a society where people enjoy putting on ski goggles every time when they're engaging with tech.
Well, I think the three big limitations for me are one, almost everybody who's using it, you couldn't use it for even really a full church service because it's it needs plugged into battery power. Basically the whole, like the people who have been using it for multiple days or whatever have got that battery bank and then they're plugging that battery bank into a wall charger that's keeping it going. So you would definitely be tethered to the spot in the room for power. And then I think audio is a big one. Like it has speakers on it that apparently are good, but your people around you can hear the audio. So if you're really trying to listen to a mix in terms of production stuff, you're probably not going to use that as a reference point. Maybe to like compare it to what people would be experiencing if they were at home, watching your live stream on a Vision Pro, like big screen, whatever. Maybe you want to reference that mix, but practically, I don't think they're using the speakers on that for audio. And then the last piece that people have been complaining about is the keyboard. Apparently the keyboard that is virtual that pops up in your Vision Pro kind of reality is one of the most unresponsive things that people have experienced, and it's very, very challenging to kind of get to the right place that you want to tap to. It doesn't function like a normal keyboard, so it's kind of tricky to get where you need to go in terms of navigation with a keyboard, as you would if you were in a production studio. Like I'm thinking about mission control on a Mac and gestures and stuff like that, and so I just don't think that part is there yet based on the reviews that I've watched. And I obviously don't have one, but the reviews have been pretty adamant about those pieces.
Yep. Any
Yeah.
other thoughts,
The
Adam?
thing that Yeah, I was gonna say the thing that was it Tyler had sent. Like I think that that's probably the most practical use case at this point, because it just requires so many screens. Being able to see everything at once, but not being someone that is completely focused on super dialing in the mix, like, camera control. It's not like this position of video director is super granular in one area. They're the big picture people. So that makes sense with Vision Pro being the big picture device.
Yep. Well, it's cool to see it out in the wild. Let us know, guys, in the comments how you're using Apple Vision Pro, if you have one and if you're implementing it. Let's move on to the next topic of today. We have some more leaked photos of what looks like a wing that can then mount in some sort of rack setup. So is this the wing rack that we're looking at right now? Looks pretty cool.
I'm so
You
confused
know,
about this though. I have so many questions. Like it looks like
I
there's a
mean,
touchscreen on there. Does it not look like a touchscreen?
I was just gonna say that
oh,
it looks
So
like
do
a
you have
touchscreen to me.
would you have to put in
yeah.
like one of those angled racks on your front of house station and like use a touch because you wouldn't rack mount this like under a desk or in the backstage area, or maybe you just use the iPad app. Like maybe that's the vision for it, is kind of like a bigger
Mhm.
X32 rack.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
The
obviously, I think it's going to
X32
be a
rack is
touchscreen
open.
because why wouldn't they if they've already? I mean, it's on the normal wing, it's a touchscreen, so they might as well put the same one in there, right? And
Yeah.
it does make it easier, especially if you have the rack, in a place that's ergonomically makes sense, like you're not, on the floor or something. Maybe sometimes you'll have to have it on the floor, but if you had it, let's say you're especially if you had a studio and you have it just rack mounted next to your like studio desk, like that touchscreen would make sense like that.
Do you think that's the same size as the full size wing touchscreen? It looks really similar in terms of size.
Yeah, I think it is. Because why would they
Hmm.
want to? I don't think they would want to have to manufacture a whole different screen component. Like
Right.
I think they would want to just make the same one for the different applications.
But this one definitely doesn't look like it pops out, at least from the initial image. It looks flush to the rack unit itself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think
Yeah,
it's
it's gonna be
mounted on
cool.
some sort of like working surface, right? Like it's not like it's
Hmm.
mounted on the final product. Okay, what would be wild? I'm sure this is not ever going to happen, but what if this was a control surface, like a PoE, like you plug an Ethernet cable in the back and you put the actual
Mm.
rack of like the XLR connections somewhere else? That'd be
Oh,
cool.
that'd be cool. Very clean.
Like this is just sitting on your desk like a Stream Deck.
Yep, that'd
Yeah,
be
that could be
cool.
cool. Hmm.
Yeah, and this is like the section of the normal wing where you can have like your user assigned keys and knobs, right? Is that what I'm seeing right here?
That's what it looks like.
I think
Yeah.
so.
It's it's not the what I consider the useless section of the wing, like that's usually beside the screen on the top right portion of the wing. Um, Still, yeah, I still never use that section for anything. But cool.
Yeah.
Oh, Behringer keep teasing us. They keep teasing us with all these new leaked photos. Okay, up next, I really like these lights, these lighting fixtures. So a couple month or two ago, Drake from Octane had shared like some fixtures that he was selling, and there what was cool about them is they were like these cool. I think of his P3s right here, the P3 Evo,
Hmm.
and they're like these nice like warm blinders, and oh, you can have like a RGBW glow that's mixed into it.
That's
That's
cool.
cool. So that's because I was thinking of like some cool setups for Rock Harbor Church. Here's like a that's funny Back to the Future commercial using it. Yeah, I was like, man, for church stage design, lighting needs, these just seem like really unique fixtures that are going to put off a really unique look for your stage because you're used to your typical stage lights, um, and then your typical blinders, and I feel like these kind of blend both the idea of like a blinder with like RGBW, and that could just create some really cool aesthetic looks. So I'm working on trying to convince our church we should get some of these, but they're not
And
cheap. I
it's
think it was like, gosh, it was three. It was like maybe like $600 a piece, which I
hmm.
guess still is not horrible, but
It's cool because they have that grid on them that is like a tech. It kind of gives the light like a texture, whereas
mhm.
normally like with a pixel stick or something, or even like a pro wash on the floor or something, it just kind of got like a screen in front of it that's pretty flat. But like these,
Mhm.
at least if I'm understanding the fixture itself correctly, that grid actually gives it a little bit of dimension. It gives, yeah, texture is kind of the best word I can think of it for it, but it could definitely be used as a really cool stage element. Very versatile.
Dude, look at that.
That's
These
cool.
ones, these are cool. The way you can create like a wall out of them.
Yeah.
So that's
Hmm.
where I'm like, man, at a church like Rock Harbor, where we got like, we got the stained glass going on. We got kind of like the tall walls and ceilings and angles. Like, I'm like, man, imagine if we had like these lights were kind of creating kind of an outline around the different architecture in our room. Um, that could look really cool. Yeah. So this is the S Tribe.
So then
So,
is that fixture that
uh,
they're showing right there, does it have what it looks like is, I mean, you can control the whole thing. So like the middle pieces that kind of look like a honeycomb, I'm assuming those, we
mhm.
saw those lighting up and kind of fanning out, but then you've also got color and hue control over the little LED strips in them. That's
Yeah.
sweet.
Yeah.
But yeah, it says 97. You can go either 12 or 97 DMX channels.
Holy cow.
So per fixture.
Wow.
But
You're
it
gonna
also
need a
Man,
says you can
universal
do
that
too.
ArtNet macros. You can get an optional module. So like it look, maybe if you were to put all these together like an LED wall and have a module that you then control some macros or actions from, it'd be better than having like 6 universes.
yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, these are cool. I just love it's kind of it's like a modern retro style all at the same time. Hmm.
Way cool.
So, yeah, I don't know if you guys are thinking about cool lighting solutions. That to me seems pretty cool. Lots of stage design
Hmm.
ideas that could come from that. All right, up next, I wanted to talk about the PTZ Optics 4K Move cameras, NDI cameras. I've been using them. PTZ Optics sent me two of them with the Superjoy controller. And budget wise, these cameras each come in at around about $2,200. Maybe you guys can verify that for me, the actual pricing for it. But um, pretty reasonable budget. And then the controller, I think, is like maybe $1,000 or somewhere around there. So it's not as premium as like the Canon PTZs or some of the other brand of PTZ cameras out there. But it's been working pretty well. So like I would say a lot of any hiccups I've experienced with them have had more to do with our NDI networking issues that we've had at Rock Harbor Church, more so than any issues with these cameras themselves. But if I look up Rock Harbor Church, Florida, we can see yesterday's stream here. It's always kind of a pain trying to find the stream from.
Isn't
There
under
it
live? Yeah.
is. There we go. So here, here's kind of the results of yeah, how it looks. So this is camera one, just kind of a straight on shot. We got a little bit of bokeh here, and I was able to get the manual settings dialed in there. Pretty happy with that. And this is camera two.
Not
So
bad.
is it going to be the same color quality and stuff as Canon? No. I feel like skin tones and stuff look a little, you know, could be better. But again, for the price, it's like, yeah, it's actually performing pretty well. Obviously helps when you have like good lighting infrastructure and such. But so far so good. And this is you're seeing them over NDI as well. So eventually, what we'll do is I'll have them set up when I get like a proper video switching system. I'll use SDI instead. Um, but yeah, that's that. So if you guys like, I don't know if you're talking to clients and people want like I would call this like it's not the cheapest PTZ option out there. It's not a premium one. It's kind of a maybe low mid-range option. I'd say it's pretty solid.
My follow up question is:
Yeah, I looked it
Has
up.
the GUI changed at all on control
Oh yes,
for?
yeah. So the GUI is a lot better. So getting into same deal where you put the IP address and the camera into your web browser to get in and start altering color settings and exposure settings. Way better than previous generations of PTZ optics cameras. So that was easy to get up. Everything was very quick to get up and running. Both that and the joystick controller. The joystick controller itself it's really easy to use in terms of just being able to um, program in some quick presets and stuff. So you can see this is the joystick controller right here. So, what I do is get my main color settings saved and exposure settings saved in the GUI using the web browser, and then on the controller, I basically just go in and save a few presets, and our volunteers too. They can easily figure out how to save position presets on the controller for each camera. So very very impressed with that.
Yeah, I looked it up. It was. It looks like it's retail $2,000 or
Mm-hmm.
22 for
And what about the
the
super?
Move
What about the
4K.
Super Joy? Yeah, what about the Super Joy? Because
Um,
let's
And B&H
see.
has got it, I think.
yeah, $8.99
What?
here from Amazon. That's the
Yeah,
old one, but
yeah. So
yeah,
whatever it is. Um,
800,
yeah. So
900.
yeah. So let us know. We have we can be a dealer for them too, or we are a dealer for them from one of our distributors. So if you guys are looking to purchase one of these setups, let us know. And again, these are things that we're helping helping clients like look at these different setups and stuff. So I would just say like for again, it always comes down to a budget because it's like okay, yeah, if you have the budget, go for a Canon CRN 300 or 500 and the Canon controller, but then you're going to be looking at like a five, six, $7,000 setup, for versus like this camera and this controller, you're probably looking for, well, I guess two cameras and a controller. You're looking at like $5,000, um, but you're going to be able to produce a pretty compelling live stream with it. So
What's cool for people watching too is if they want comparisons, they can go to Rock Harbor in Florida's live stream, and they could even pull up South's right next to each other because South Fellowship in
yeah.
Littleton has the Canon PTZs, right?
Well, we did. You can look back, if you look back at South Fellowship streams from like
Front Live.
September, October, Churchfront Live. Yeah, Churchfront Live videos. That was a Canon. Right now they're back to Black Magic. But yeah,
Cool.
you're right. That's an easy way to kind of look. Definitely look at the Churchfront Live conference videos, and those were the Canon ones. So that's where like when I'm looking at our setup at Rock Harbor, when we have the budget, I still want to get a PTZ set up in there with a 1-inch sensor, at least for our main like follow cam. That just makes a huge difference
Yeah.
in the quality there. But yeah, so far
Sweet.
so good. Um, Speaking of Rock Harbor and my integration solutions here, um, so you guys can kind of help me think through this, and love to hear the chat below. But at Rock Harbor, our space, like where our tech booth is, we don't really have a proper tech booth, right? It's literally just a kind of stand up table we have there. It's not permanent. It's not like we have a permanent wall of a booth or a platform in the back of the room. It's literally just a table where the space behind like the last row of pews, where we can have a tech booth. So my thought is like, man, as we're making these upgrades, we're going to be switching to LV1 soon. We've got Pro Presenter running back there. We've got a live stream workstation. So we still have like 3 workstations for our tech team, and I'd like to keep it that way. We don't need to have it much bigger, but I want to rack everything I can in the rack room behind the stage, or what's going to be the rack room. So I've ordered like a 44U Middle Atlantic rack, and I'm going to have the rack build up here. So here's my like very elementary rack elevation of what we're looking at here. So we've got about, yeah, I think I've got more space than that, but I've got a couple blanks. I want to put my Mac Mini in the rack, and then have this remote KVM thing where at the tech booth, all I need is a monitor, keyboard, and mouse to control like our Pro Presenter machine, right? I want my tech booth to be as clean as possible with like, and it's also kind of a security issue, right? It's easier for us to like secure gear in our rack room backstage so nobody comes, messing with stuff or stealing stuff. And then it's just this is what I think would be a pretty reliable way to remotely control computers. So I could get, like looking at this device here, this is just a one-to-one transmitter and receiver. But I believe the idea is if you have, a gigabit switch, a network, basically I could do this with multiple computers so that all of our computers are racked back there, and then we have maybe a couple of these receivers at the tech booth, and then we're good to go. That's our workstation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have pulled up mouse and keyboard, the Logi one that we like to use. I'm wondering, could you use these buttons right here, the 1, 2, 3 buttons with the Logi Bolt USB thing? Like, could you switch between computer 1 and computer 2 with one set of keyboards and two of those little bolts?
I don't
So
see
you
why
could
not.
control multiple
In
yeah, you could control multiple computers with one keyboard and mouse.
Yeah, yeah. But the problem is how are you going to monitor the keyboard, right? Are you still saying use it with a KVM,
Yeah, yeah, plug the
right?
little
Like,
USB thing into multiple KVMs.
So
got
you'd
it.
have
Oh,
so
that's
you'd have
cool.
like
Yeah, yeah.
you'd have to have two monitors at the workstations, right? So you'd have one monitor linked up to one computer, the other one linked up to another computer, and then you could switch between. Because I use
Yep.
that multi switch right now just in my office between my MacBook Pro and a rack mounted Mac Mini, and it's super seamless, like very very easy. So it'd be cool if you just had like a couple. These are super tiny devices, so you could
Hmm.
mount them under the desk with some Velcro tape or something, or even build some sort of a rack, bracket or something and it would be pretty clean.
Yep. Because I even think, Luke, think about the High Point Church, Jamie Randolph's church setup with their tech
Yes.
booth. I actually think they need to do this and
Yep.
they've got the nice little closet right behind the front of house there, where they could easily rack mount everything that we currently have at their front of house, and they effectively would just need network, have a
Hmm.
network switch at front of house to send the networking cable, and also because they have the Waves super rack there. I mean, all that stuff could be racked just
Yep.
backstage.
Yeah, because
So
all you
I
need,
think,
so you could run one network cable into a switch, and then you could split it out to these different KVM devices as needed, like it shows in the diagram. So you
mhm.
really you could get away with like I'm trying to think of how to put it kind of in a desk area. You'd probably need like a 4U. I don't even know if they make just like a simple 2U rack, but something really tiny. I mean, it could be a really clean setup.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I
Hmm.
think you would put the larger switch. I feel like I would put the larger switch, in the closet or the backstage rack,
Right.
wherever you're racking these things, and then probably make the dedicated run with some Cat 5, Cat 6 runs to your receiving KVM receivers at your front of house, right? So
Hmm.
at Jamie's church, he need two KVM receivers, for one for his Pro Presenter lighting computer, one for his, actually maybe three, because he could
3
also
for
put
virtual
his,
sound check.
yeah, he's got virtual sound check there. But then I was like, oh man, could we do this for Waves, like a Wave setup as well? Like, do I even need to have my host computer at front of house? If I can get a KVM that has enough USB interface in it, can I even keep the Waves host and server in the back rack room?
Is that the limitation? Is it USB length or is it network cable length?
No, it could be networked, but I'm saying these ones in particular, when I was adding up USB connections, so we've got only three
Oh, I
USB
see.
connections here. With Waves, you need keyboard, mouse, and I guess you could use a dongle or a hub. I never thought about that.
Hmm.
Keyboard, mouse, and then one for the touch screen, right? Touch screens need both USB and HDMI, right?
Hmm. Yep.
for control.
And actually, they need USB-A to USB-C for the touchscreen. At least with the monitors that we're speccing, they need USB-A from the back of the Waves computer into USB-C for the touchscreen compatibility on the actual monitor itself. So that could be, but they're also shipping those with dongles. So every Waves bundle we've done so far has come with a little USB dongle with some extra ports on it. So yeah, we'd have to kind of do a little, whimsical flow to make sure everything's accommodated for, but this could be a cool solution.
Yeah.
And they do make higher end KVMs. So, they have ones with, with more on them.
Well, that's what I was excited about, like these ones being more affordable for a lot of smaller church setups, the one I was showing. But yeah, what's that one, Adam? That's that $548 for
audio, 4 USB, Ethernet. So
yep, that's cool. Awesome. Well, yeah, we're always looking for new integration solutions, both for ourselves and for the clients. So
yeah.
Okay, moving on. Up next, we've got a story about it was an unfortunate story about a church that actually, sorry, I got to pull up the give me a second, Luke, here to pull up the link for it. Where is it? Copy that. This is a church that they actually just burnt down, which is really sad. Look at these photos, like devastating. He didn't say any stories of it, but
gosh,
reading his post, our church had a massive fire in the sanctuary a couple weeks ago. As you can imagine, the rebuild will take a while. It'll be pretty much starting from scratch. Knowing what we have, or that we will have a blank slate, I thought it might be smart to ask this question collective. What are the things you wish people who built your church would have thought about or done? So just really interesting comments down here. I can read a few of them. Storage space, conduit, conduit, and more conduit. More better electricity. More outlets and RJ45s on stage. Spend the money to hire an integrator. Dedicated clean power circuits. Dante network. Bathroom backstage. That's a good idea. AVL integrator working with architect. Yes. Acoustician. Yes. Yep. That is definitely something where churches don't think about acoustic. A lot of people kind of mention the similar things. Yeah, I don't know if you guys have any thoughts. I thought I saw you, Adam, chime in here somewhere. Oh, down here.
Yep.
Gotten someone involved at this point before electrical, before conduit, etc. Yeah. So definitely important things to consider if you're starting from a blank slate. Hopefully it's not because of a church burning down, but if you're building a new church space, you just got to think about the big picture. And like, I was actually, I think the key conversations are like making sure an architect is connected with an integrator. So as you're designing out the space, you can, have an integrator who understands like interior materials that are used and how that affects the acoustics and the walls and the angles of the walls and things like that. What type of sound system PA you're going to run. All really important factors to consider building a space. I do think, though, because of audio and video over IP stuff, it's like I do think that now you don't necessarily have to make a gazillion cable runs everywhere or a bunch of conduit everywhere. Like, yes, it's better to have it than to not, but I also think there's some innovative ways to think about if you're starting with a blank slate, what would that look like?
Yep.
Yeah. That's where my church is at right now. We're in the architectural design phase of our building, and I'm gonna be asking that we just have cable trays. Just like if visually the church is okay with it, like just cable trays. Running cable, like if we decide to run a new cable and we need to, you just throw it up and slide it through, and so much easier than like pushing it through conduit and putting the gel in there and re-terminating. I mean, we've done enough installs and things at this point with churches where people are saying, we only have so much room in the conduit. We've got to pull this cable before we can pull that cable, or there's not room. We have to drill new holes. And yeah, so as unfortunate as it is, they are in a space where they can really serve themselves for the future by doing it right this time.
Yep. More conduit though.
More Conduit. Yeah,
Always.
it's always the boring stuff. People are like, "Oh, I want this new mixing console or this thing or that thing," but it's like, no, you just need more conduit,
Hmm.
more cable runs. Be thinking about the board. Think about the acoustics. Think about the boring stuff. That's going to make a bigger difference in the long run. All right, then what do we got next? We've got this little cool power outlets that I think you shared this, Luke. These Snap One power
Hmm.
outlets. These it looks like they're controllable. They're rotatable outlets. They're controllable over IP. So I'm like, man, do we even need like a actual normal like Furman power sequencer setup if you can just get this?
No, because this is conditioning built in too. So it's, it's not only, it's like network controllable, obviously the rotatable outlets. This website is so cool. I was on the YouTube rabbit hole watching a guy who does rack builds for Buffalo Wild Wings. And so he
Hmm.
he gets like 36U racks and he builds their setup, and he was talking about these, and I was like, "Oh, I'm going to look that up." And then this company specifically has like a bunch of other um, companies that are kind of intertwined together, but they make like uninterruptible power supplies. They make these kind of IP power strips. They make surge protectors, and so they have a ton of stuff. But the biggest thing that I think Adam and I have always talked about is like networked control for power cycle, and for being able
Mhm.
to, their idea is to be able to reduce the amount of sales calls or service calls, my bad, to go on site. Whereas if you have networked control over the power of each individual unit in the rack, and you could power cycle the specific outlet you're looking at, then you could, sometimes it's just a power cycle that needs to happen, and you can cut down on service time. So I think they're really sharp. They're really cool, in terms of build quality. I have no idea what the prices are because it's a wholesaler situation, but they're pretty slick. I'm really, really excited about them.
Yeah, and you
Yeah,
saw I didn't hear if you said this, the optional UPS.
Hmm. Yep. Yeah, and a lot of times they pair them with them. So wow, not bad on
yeah. I'm
eBay.
trying to. Yeah, they don't look. I'm trying to find if there's any online retailers, but I'm gonna. Oh wait, no. Wattbox. Yeah, they're all like
Hmm.
must be it. Just maybe it's just so niche. There's not many actual dealer distributors out there. Oh, what's this? This is gonna show me a price.
Nope.
No, it's all distributors. So that's yeah, that is interesting. I should look into this, getting us set up to be a dealer for this because like this is exactly what we need
Yeah. The
for a
other
lot of
cool
worship
thing,
tech
the
setup.
other cool thing about these pieces is that they have a power switch on the front of the actual rack, the rack unit, and so I can't remember what device it was on, but like when you're looking at a big rack of all the gear, and if you needed to power cycle one piece, most of the time you have to go back around the back of the rack, and like there's a small power switch back there, and you power that down. These guys put the power switch on the front, and so you can, if you're talking a client through power cycling of the whole switch, of the whole watt box itself, they can walk up and easily from the front power it down and then power up. They don't have to get in the mess of the back and things like that. But
Uh,
rotatable sockets, like that's the coolest thing I've ever seen.
yeah, yes, very cool, dude. I was at Starbucks this morning and I was trying to plug my charger from my MacBook Pro into the socket under the table, and because it was not rotatable and it was like flush with the bottom of the table, my dang power brick wouldn't fit in there. I was like, "What? Come on, come on!" So, man, so much cool stuff out there. Um, so little time to actually get ourselves signed up as dealers for them. But I will do it. We're making progress. So yeah, I just want to let you guys know we're at Churchfront. I mean, we talk about our integration journeys here all the time on the Churchfront show. Because we really are learning these solutions, working on them, implementing them for ourselves, for our clients, and it's been exciting to see the progress that we've been making with the different systems we've been building. We have some exciting things coming up with, especially our capability to now do audio system design and acoustical design and all that fun stuff. We got an exciting new team member. I feel like I'm not going to announce yet who that team member is because I kind of want to give us a few weeks of like being able to build the systems to take on any new demand that comes our way. But really exciting stuff. So guys, go to churchfront.com. And this is another thing I've been working on a lot lately is just kind of cleaning up our website infrastructure. Kind of hopefully this stuff is you guys will find it easier as a user, whether you're a member of churchfront.com or if you're just browsing our latest content. You guys can check out the resources here. But yeah, we'd love to have you work with us. Go to churchfront.com, apply to join our program. Go check out conference details, churchfront.com/conference. We'd love to see you at our event this year. We are at like 33% capacity already. It's only February and the event is in October. So I'm kind of concerned, guys, that we actually might need to oh, sorry. Were you looking at this window that wasn't moving the whole time? We might need to actually. Sorry. So I was showing you guys the different aspects of the website. Here, I'll go to the conference. So we're at 33% capacity. So that just might mean that we have to like limit ticket sales if it gets booked out full. So go ahead and head on to churchfront.com/conference to get your tickets today. We would love to see you there, and you'll get a great discount if you use the discount code EARLYBIRD. And then, yeah, the things I was showing you here on the website, you've got we've got our new page here for media. You can browse all of our latest articles and content. And then, of course, guys, look at my new landing page I built today for the application page. I'm pretty excited about this. Watch this quick video of me and then fill out this application form, and you can work with us for either getting access to courses, the consulting, or the integration services. So that's all we have for you today in this episode of the Churchfront Show. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.